T.S. Elliot said, "What we call the beginning is often the end. And to make an end is to make a beginning. The end is where we start from."
And this is the end. But not really.
It's really just the beginning of our adventures together. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Dungeon Masters Dojo podcast. This is a show for game masters and players alike. We hope to bring you tips and tricks to elevate your game and develop the art of dungeon mastery. I'm your host, Louis Aponte, and these are your dungeon masters, Scott Labby and Bill Robotile. Let's enter the dojo and see what they have in store for us today. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello, boys. It's been a little stretch since we've been together.
Yeah.
Couple 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, Lou forgot what to do on his blackboard with all the lights and everything.
Well, he was on vacation in another country, and
He was.
and I think he's still suffering from jet lag.
Alcoholism.
You beat me to it. It's because they jet lag, caffeine withdrawal, and alcoholism.
It's rough being me sometimes.
Yeah. It is.
Wow.
Yeah, this has been, we haven't done an instructional episode in a long time. As far as recording goes, I mean, there was like a week, last week, we dropped an instructional one, but we've been busy with other stuff.
A lot of other things.
Lots of irons in the fire.
Yep, Scott said, "Do we have any instructional left?" And I was like, "Nope."
Yeah. So that was good. We were going to do a Facebook Live and talk about all this stuff and do some introductions of some folks. But we'll do that introduction stuff later on a Facebook Live because tonight nobody wants to look at us.
No.
So we're going to wait till like the good-looking people show up to do a Facebook Live.
I'm already here.
We have a lot of the young, good-looking people, Lou. That we have somehow we have convinced some young people to play D&D with us.
Now, keep in mind, young by our standards is in their 30s.
Yeah, young by Bill's standards is like Betty White.
Yeah.
That's your age.
He babysat Betty White as a man. Little known fact.
Yeah. Just cute kid.
Yeah. Yes. But we and girls.
You heard right. Yeah. You heard right.
Well, they're not like our CNAs from the visiting nurse program we have,
or nieces or something.
Yeah, it's not the driver from Meals on Wheels.
No,
totally different. But we have like a lot of stuff. We've been busy.
Let's tell them some of the things we've been busy with.
Let's tell them. So, well,
we'll work up to it. How's that?
Big changes coming, as you probably expected from listening to the teaser. As if you've been following the podcast for a while, you know that it's 3 years ago.
Yeah,
we started the podcast because we had a pandemic and couldn't play D&D on Monday nights because we had, right before the pandemic, like 11 people in the basement playing D&D together. And people our age were dropping like flies, during the pandemic. So we didn't want to all gather around a table and, stick our dirty hands in bags of potato chips like we did before and
breathe on each other.
Yeah.
We're only feet away.
Yeah. Cause we're all mouth breathers. I mean, we're gamers from like the 70s and the 80s. It's the only way we breathe is full open mouth. We've gotten better since Lou's been yelling at us about our breathing.
Yeah. Stop breathing while we do the podcast.
So more nose breathing, than mouth breathing, but we got together, to do the podcast in the meantime. That was like our plan was to do a silly little podcast for like 6 months because the pandemic's going to be over in like 6 months. and then we'll get back to playing D&D.
And let's face it, it's a podcast. We had no idea what we were doing.
We didn't.
And by 6 months, we still didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah, and it's questionable whether we know what we're doing now, 3 years into it.
True.
And we didn't think anybody would listen to us. We started with nobody. Like, it was nobody. And then I think Lou's brother listened to us because Lou guilted him into it or something like that.
Somebody had to get it started.
So thanks. 2 weeks later, we ended up with a listener, and it turns out people liked us. I don't know why.
It's still a mystery.
Yeah, I don't think we're very. Bill's not very likable. He's kind of cranky, but I think people
I'm
like
a bastard.
People like cranky old men. It's cute. It's charming.
Until you have to edit them.
Until you have to edit them.
Yeah, well, they cut out all my cute and charming foibles.
Yeah. We who know Bill on a daily basis get all of those unedited, which is
raw, baby.
An experience. So our plan was to do this silly little podcast until we could get back together and play D&D on Monday nights like we had been doing for an eternity. And now the worst part of the pandemic is over. Hopefully. Yeah, hopefully it is. And now we have a tough decision to make. So this is where we're at. It's like we really want to play D&D.
But like you said, people apparently like us.
Yeah.
I mean, so much so that we climbed to the top 5% of podcasts globally, according to Listen Notes, which I guess is like an important thing.
I don't know. I check it every week to see if maybe there's someone who's got a podcast spelled similarly in my old eyes, just read it wrong.
Or they forgot to update it or...
Yeah. It's stayed that way for like 2.5 years, which blows my mind because I didn't think that many people were interested in what I had to say. They certainly aren't that interested at work or at home
or here.
or here, for that matter.
I think I knew people liked us when I told you guys to leave me alone.
Yeah, and
that didn't mean they liked us. That just mean they listened to us once in a while.
Yeah, they were like, "Oh, poor Lou." And we get emails.
Yes,
like hate mail. It was like hate mail to me and Bill. You're being
mostly you.
Take it easy on Lou, and be nice to him. He's so nice. No, he's nice, and God, you don't know him. None of you know him. You don't know what it's like. We sing sad songs and drag our tin cup across the bars just to get Lou's attention.
He told us to stop breathing.
Yes, told us to stop breathing. That'll kill you. I read it in a medical book.
And he didn't care.
Yeah, I said, Lou, how do we stop breathing? I mean, you need to breathe. He's like, I don't care how you do it, just do it.
Figure it out.
I'm sick of editing like breathing sounds. It's like, and I listened to like the raw, like unedited recordings, and we don't sound like Darth Vader at all. So I don't see the big deal. But anyway, we made friends.
Yeah,
not with Lou, but we made friends with.
Despite Lou.
Yes.
Who somehow turned out to be our social media guru.
Yeah.
Which is an oxymoron.
Yeah, it's
because it's like an ox and a moron, which is what he calls us on a regular basis.
Well, I'm the ox and
I'm the moron.
Yeah,
so yeah,
but,
it's just
so it's not nice. He's not nice to us either.
No.
But
I have never said those things.
It's what it's like.
It's implied.
It's like he's like Joan Crawford. and all nice in Hollywood and in the movies and everything, but then he comes home and he hits us with wire hangers.
That's it. Whack, whack.
That's a movie, Mommy Dearest. Look it up. It's really a bumming movie, so I wouldn't recommend watching it. But we've made some really awesome friends.
We've hit a couple miles. We're close to hitting another milestone, a big one.
Yeah. I can't even believe that.
We're weeks away from hitting 100,000 downloads.
Yeah.
Mere weeks.
Yeah, I don't. That just blows my mind. And we're still poor. So, thanks for downloading us 100,000 times.
Yeah.
How
many times have you heard us say Biosasaki? But then
But we've
I
had
digress.
some people.
We
have.
yeah.
We have.
Quite a few people.
Well, we'll get into that a little later on, but for now,
our first love is for the game, right? So how do you walk away from like all this like coolness?
You can't.
Right? Yeah. You can't.
Well, it boils down to two things. Do we do the podcast, or do we stop and do we play D&D? Like I said, it's our first love. I mean, that's why we started doing. We talked about the podcast as a joke at a game, a week-long game.
Yeah, while we were under the influence.
Yeah, several influences actually, but and we're talking about it, and then what was it? 2 weeks later, Lou calls you and goes, "Call Bill. Are you serious about it?"
Yeah, I'm like, I didn't even think you were sober enough or paying attention.
I was.
And he's like,
you
paying attention?
You apparently took notes.
You weren't sober. Yeah. I'm surprised he retained any of that.
Anything you said?
Yeah, but then he made it. He's like, well, I already bought all the equipment. So I'm like, well, I guess if I'm not serious about it, I have to be like quick because you have spent all this money on equipment. And he showed up with stuff that looked like Starfleet stuff from the original like Star Trek.
I knew he was going to go
there.
there.
Were like buttons that
course.
light up
Yep,
and levers and all sorts of wires and stuff. And here we are. At this crossroads.
So we have a solution.
We hire young, dynamic people to continue with the podcast. Good-looking, dynamic people with high cheekbones and clefts in their chin. And our social media guru is going to be like a 20-something-year-old girl instead of a rundown old man like Lou.
All right. Do you know the same people I do?
No, I mean, if anybody's out there.
Oh, you're asking. Oh.
We
have people that are better looking than us.
Wow, that's not a stretch.
Well, have you seen some of our players? Yes. Now, some of them are really nice looking people. And others are just younger versions of us.
Yes.
We covered the gambit.
We did.
We didn't discriminate. We didn't. We covered the gambit.
Yeah, everybody at the table is much younger and much more attractive than we are, which is depressing. But
I'm like 1 foot away from like undead, so I really don't care anymore.
just 1 foot away. Well, we have a solution. That's what Bill said. What's the solution? Since hiring like beautiful people to do the podcast for us isn't an option because we're broke.
Yeah, I was about to say we have
money. We got no money,
and there is no intern. It's going to come down
100,000 downloads. We still don't have a pot to piss in.
It's only a number.
That's like age.
Yeah.
Age is only a number. It says everybody who has not gotten old.
It's amazing
has arthritis.
It's amazing how close the number of downloads it mirrors my age. We're going back to playing D&D on Monday nights. We are. It's where our hearts are. We're going to do this. But
so see you guys later. It's been great.
No,
and outro music. There's more.
There's more. Yes, you all of you that listen, it's where our hearts are, and it's a tough decision. But we decided we're going to game, but we're going to take you with us to our homebrew world of Hymerin. And that's how we're going to settle this little conundrum we have.
That's a good plan.
It is a good plan. I like it.
It's a solid plan.
I get to play again.
But yes, and I still don't.
You get to run. That's the joy.
That's right. A DM is just a player that does a different job at the table.
He puts a smile on all our faces.
Yes, and that's really what I want.
There's a sarcastic smirk from both of them. So there's a little structure that we have to follow to be able to pull this off, isn't there?
Yeah. Yeah, there's
A little bit.
there's planning and stuff. So we're going to drop the instructional format for the foreseeable future. It may come back, who knows? But we don't like to say never, because never say never, right?
Yeah.
But for now, we're going to focus on the actual play, and there's a reason. There's a reason why. Why I think the big reason is, and Lou's mentioned this in private before, when we were talking about our conundrum. What do we do? Do we do one or the other, or both? We decided we were going to drop the instructional stuff. You got like 3 years of it.
I was going to say, yeah, if you need some, just start over.
Yeah.
Because the last time you listened to the first episode was probably about 3 years ago for our diehards that followed us from the very beginning, all 4 of you.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Everybody's mom and brother. But Lou, tell us the big issue with the instructional stuff.
What, the editing?
No.
No, so that would be bullet point number 2 on your computer screen there, sir. You want to borrow my glasses?
I don't even know where we're at. I'm tired. Excuse me.
Yeah. So,
Shall I?
part of the reason why we're is Lou can't keep up anymore.
That's it. He's still jet lagged.
He's fading fast. I need coffee.
A lot of what we see other content creators do is just rehash the same topics over and over.
Yep. They just regurgitate what they've already did a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And we don't want to do that.
No, we
And even for us, it would be a couple of years, but we still don't want to do that.
no, because why? What's the point? We already talked about it, right? Talking about it and putting a different slant on it is, I don't know. I think it's,
I think the word that Lou used was perfect. Regurgitation.
yeah.
We already
think
chewed
better
that.
of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We think you deserve more.
And it's true. We don't want to just keep repeating ourselves, because then we become dull, and we want to stay. We don't want to be dull.
We don't.
I'm already dull.
We want to be as wildly entertaining as we always are. Or just mildly, or is it wildly?
Just stick with entertaining.
Oh, hold on. Mildly. We want to be as mildly entertaining.
Read the bullet points, please.
I am. It's just, I need a stronger prescription.
Glasses, I hope.
Yes.
Well, I mean, the good part is we have a wonderful cast moving forward, and we really do think you're going to like them.
An amazing cast.
We
Yep.
do. We're very happy with who we've been able to con into playing D&D with us. They're great. There's, as we said before, there's some younger folks there who bring a younger voice and mindset to the game, which is always refreshing. We've got a relatively inexperienced player.
Yeah.
And we have another player that's never played before, but
Yeah, she's a true noob.
yeah, she is, and she's keeping up very, very well. As is our other young lady who's joined us, who's got some gaming experience.
A little.
Yeah. And then some veteran players. And I think it's a really, really well-rounded group that you're going to really enjoy listening to them play the game.
Well, I mean, and we're talking about cast and play the game, and we're talking about our live play with the success of the Acorns journey. We've had 19 episodes, I recall.
Yes.
Yeah, 19 episodes. The finale dropped for us a couple weeks ago. By the time you listen to this, maybe a little bit longer. But it's a DMD story we have, and we feel comfortable about embarking on this particular journey with all of you. And now we have a little bit more to go too, right?
We have a lot. We have a lot. We have a roadmap. We'll get into that roadmap though a little bit later.
It's extensive.
Yeah. With the change in format, there's the necessity for our release schedule changing.
Yep.
And I don't really think there's any way around that. We decided very early on that if we were going to do a podcast, even if we were inexperienced, that we were going to put out the best product that we could with our skill level and the finances available to us.
We apologize now.
Yes. And, and spending an appropriate amount of money that our significant others wouldn't be aware of.
Notice.
And that's not easy. These are the sacrifices we make for our listeners.
But if there's one thing we learned, it's better to ask for forgiveness
than permission.
Yeah.
And have the stuff you buy online sent to Bill's doorstep, unless of course it's Bill's stuff, in which case have it sent to like somebody else's doorstep.
No, because it all shows up in my name, and I just go, no, Lou bought that and sent it here.
Yeah.
Whether it's my stuff or not. No, Scott bought that and sent it here. So I can usually come out pretty free and clear.
And that's the key to a good, long-lasting relationship. Yeah.
Deception and lies.
Yeah, don't take that advice from me. So things are changing with the release schedule. We've had the good fortune of stumbling upon a second editor.
Thank God.
Who's
He's amazing.
Amazing. He's made a table full of gamers playing D&D sound really, really good. And
Radio show good, if I may say. I'm being biased, but it's radio show worthy.
Yeah, I mean, I have a biased opinion of it. I've heard the stuff before editing, and I've heard the stuff after editing, and I was like, holy shit, that's us.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, wow, I sound like I know what I'm doing.
Well, he has experience from a radio channel, radio station, and he did Foley work there, and that's what he's doing for us. He puts the music in, he marries it up, he does the sound effects, and what goes in is one thing, what comes out is a miracle.
It takes a lot of work to get the sound quality just right. I don't know that from personal experience, but I do know that from our second editor, Frank, telling me how much of a pain in the ass it is.
And how much you go,
Yes, how much I go, how much I Shatner.
And he starts the beginning of a sentence 3 times.
Yes.
We like to say I.
They probably won't hear a lot of that in this. Maybe I'll just leave it raw so people can see. I haven't decided yet.
Yeah.
Maybe from this point forward. Or maybe not.
So a lot of work. A
A
ton of work goes into it because he adds sound effects. He adds music. He does the basic editing, stuff like that. But, and that sounds like a lot because it is, but he's also, when he's picking music, he's like pouring through a massive database of music to find the music that fits that moment just right. Like at the very end of an Acorn's journey, when we said goodbye, it was a very emotional goodbye.
Yes, it was.
At the end of it, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm sad.
Let's take a moment to talk about our sponsor.
You're a new DM who wants to jump behind the screen. Maybe you've been volunteered by your gaming group, but aren't quite ready. What if I were to tell you that I can put a team of professional writers alongside you at your desk while you're prepping your game? With Describe, we can do just that. These narratives vividly describe monsters, places, spells, people, you name it. It's there, and there are more than 6,000 of these easy-to-search up, copy, and pastable, beautifully written narratives right at your fingertips. Describe has graciously provided us with a discount for our listeners. Head on over to describe.com/DMD. Use the code DMD at checkout to try Describe for 2 weeks for free. Links will be in the show notes.
And now, back to the show.
Listening to this, which is exactly what I wanted. I wanted
I
people
mean, if
to
I
be,
had feelings, I think I would have cried.
Yeah, I mean, we...
I shed a tear for you.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So, beginning May 9th, 2023, we're going to be moving to an every other week format for episode releases instead of every week. It just makes more sense. We can drop episodes of our actual play every week, but the quality really won't be there. After we sat down and we talked to Frank, who does the bulk of the editing, and we talked to Lou, and we're like, what is it we're looking for? What do we want to do? Do we want quantity, or do we want quality? And everybody said, well, we want quality.
Especially when the quality from where we started to where we are now is gone exponentially, especially with the inclusion of Frank.
Yeah.
I believe it's necessary to make sure we maintain the quality of what we've managed to put out there up to this point.
It is.
Especially with the actual play. And it does take, for every hour episode, you're looking at 5 and 6 hours worth of editing on average.
At minimum, yeah.
Yeah. And on average, you're between the just cleaning it up with the ums and the ahs and the dead space and the input and jokes that don't belong there, that you have to cut it out, and you have to make it sound like it's natural and flows. Then you go back and you do it again. For the stuff that you've missed. Then you go back in and start including sound effects on one track and then the sound on another, and some things don't line up, and as it starts going, it's, oh, nope, I missed that, and you're going back again. And
I think you're looking at about 15, maybe 20 hours sometimes.
It's a lot.
Because I know when I did our part for The Devil Went Down to Jersey, that was like 18 hours.
Yeah.
But you were also obsessed with it too.
Maybe a little bit. Because Frank set the bar well.
He did. You were just. I got to go through it again. I got to go. It's not Frank quality yet.
Lou had to be better than every other podcast we partnered with. That was his day. It's like, all right, we got to sound better than D20 to Curtain or Fool's Quest.
Yeah, all the professional voice actors with thousands of dollars worth of equipment, and we cobbled together what we have, but we got to sound better.
Yeah. People that knew what they were doing. Lou wanted us to sound, we can't sound like we don't know what we're doing because they all sound like they do know what they're doing. So that was Lou. That was an obsession for him, but it takes time to get the episodes just right.
It does. And we're shooting for a particular style, aren't we?
Yeah. We didn't want to just be another actual play podcast. We wanted to do something a little bit different, right? We didn't want to do, like D20 to Curtain, very serious podcast. A Fool's Quest, it's like, it's a sitcom almost. It's a beer and pretzels, good time, fun stuff. We didn't want to sound like role play. That's their niche. It was, we couldn't if we wanted to. There's that snappy banter and the role play is just different. So we decided let's shoot for like a radio drama, like the old school stuff. From
it's our style.
Yeah, it's where we were going to be. We didn't want to imitate anybody because we knew we'd do it poorly. So we figured we had to find our own way. And I think we've done it.
Yeah,
I think so.
Well,
too.
Whether we did it or not, it's our style now.
But I'm hoping that people that listen to this will write us and let us know that if this is working for them or not.
Yeah, it's
because it's good. It's good to know.
Yeah, it is.
It's saying, okay, and I can pat myself on the back a little bit, but let's keep that bar rolling.
Yeah. And we're still playing a legit in-person D&D game, heavy house rules and stuff like that, our own kind of play style.
Yeah, don't yell at us rules learning. We have a lot of house rules, and some things,
world.
Some stuff kind of slides through going, wait a minute, that doesn't work that way. Well, it does here.
We made concessions for some things to be a little different,
but
yet be the same.
Yeah, our story has always been more important to us than the letter of the rules. Just even before we did the podcast.
Right.
Was, of course, we didn't throw the rule book out because that's important, but it's just not a rabid adherence.
But it even says that in the DMG.
Yeah.
So
well, and we do make changes. Usually, you're not going to hear this, but we usually go to the game masters and say, "Hey, listen, this is what I'd like to do, and this is a little spinoff or a little variation. Can I get away with this? And if I get a little bit over here, I'll give a little bit over there." And you'll hear us, play it out but it's not something that we're going to try to explain on air.
Yeah, it nobody wants to hear it anyway.
No.
You know, it's just going to gum up the works. But the rule of cool is always going to apply. And
But at the end, I think everybody just would rather hear the story.
Yeah, I was going to say just that. Just don't get hung up on the rules because we sure as hell don't. Just listen to the story and have fun.
so we have a roadmap.
We have a roadmap.
We have a roadmap. I feel like Kevin Feige, only I'm not out on a stage. I'm in Bill's basement with a whiteboard and a dry erase marker, and
I regret bringing that thing over.
people are saying, Lou sits there and he rolls his eyes. I'm like, here's the plan. Here's our roadmap for the next 10 years. He's like, well.
And we're not shitting. There really is like a 4 foot by 6 foot whiteboard.
It's big.
Double sided.
Yeah.
I get a bunch of markers and he goes over there and starts saying, we got this and we got this. We flip it over. All right, here's our agenda for here and here's our agenda for there. And he'll spend a half an hour. Okay, guys, come here.
We're not even
there.
there no more. We had already left and he's still writing.
Yeah. And nobody says goodbye. It looks like a conspiracy theorist's basement lair because there's all these different lines going.
Yeah, the only thing missing is the colored yarn.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't bring that over.
We have colored markers. The push pins won't go in.
No, it mauls
whiteboard's
sorry.
too hard.
Don't want to do that.
So we have 2 trilogies planned.
Yep.
For all of you, and 3 standalone mini campaigns we call DMD stories. So an Acorn's Journey was the first DMD story of the 3 that are planned so far.
Yep.
So we hope you like that. This next thing we're doing is a full-fledged campaign, which is beginning of a trilogy. They all take place in Hymerin, so we're not going to use any retail adventures or anything like that. It's all homebrew, everything.
Or modules, as I call them.
Modules, yep. That was back in the glory days of the game. But we're doing, we're taking you with us. We're taking you to Hymerin.
You're going to spend a good amount of time in Hymerin, too.
And you're going to like it.
And you're going to like it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's not asking.
Yeah.
He's informing. Well, all these campaigns and the D&D stories are all intertwined.
Yeah.
They're happening roughly at the same time and will be leading up to something big, maybe-ish. I'm not the game master. I'm just guessing.
It always does.
Always.
Yeah, of course it does.
You have to have it. Again,
which instead of having a big bad if you don't have a big anything.
Yeah, you gotta have a big something, right?
Yeah,
It's gotta be big. And again, we want to do something different, not better, but just different than the other, because there's tons of people out there that are doing actual play D&D podcasts, and there's a lot of them that are really, really, really good.
Yeah, trying to do better is not something that we will ever achieve, but we want to do something different, and we want to put our style and our spin on what we do,
and
hope people like it.
Yeah, and if y'all do, then we'll be very, very happy. We've accomplished something.
So how far have we gotten so far?
Well, we've finished recording our first campaign, or in the first part of the trilogy.
Yep.
And then we've already begun recording the second campaign, which is the second part of the first trilogy. And we're cooking right along with that. So and we'll talk about, I just want to vomit all this information out there.
I know you do. I can see you just fighting to restrain
I had to
it.
bite my tongue, and then there's and Lou says I can only talk about so much because I just run my mouth too much.
Only the projects we have done and possibly the one we're working on.
Yes.
That's your limitation.
And that's it. None of the other stuff on the whiteboard or on the other side of the whiteboard or in the notebook. Or
you may not see it, but the hand that's furthest from you and unfortunately close to me is holding a wire coat hanger. So just adhere, please.
Yep. I'll do the best I can. And then some one-shots, right? Some Hymerin-based one-shots that we'll be recording for you as well. Various little things. The first is already dropped. Now, we weren't really planning on this being anything.
No.
But the Battle for Birch Grove.
Yeah, that was our our test
Yes.
for getting everybody used to the mics.
Yeah, it sounds a little choppier, a little.
But Frank did an amazing job.
I tell you, he just, like I said, our miracle worker
Well,
stepped in there and
He's like Montgomery Scott.
Yeah, let me clear this up. Frank did an amazing job on the first 4 episodes. Bill and I are working on the episodes 5 and 6.
Yeah.
So they may not sound as good as those first 4, but I'm hoping that they'll be close to what Frank did.
Yeah, these were just microphone rehearsals, right? Those are just all
for the
raw,
most part,
like footage of us sitting down, playing, getting people used to their characters because the characters were all pre-gens.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And they handed to him.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Great Jen say, here's your character, get used to it.
so we wanted to do that.
Well, I mean, and it is part of the story because it's
It
the
is.
prequel for the Acorn's Journey.
Yes.
Yeah. And there's
It helps establish how the characters know each other and how they came together.
it does.
They didn't start all together at the same point. So
Yeah, and if you listen to an Acorn's Journey, there's some mention of some things that happened prior to us recording. You know, with I think it was Madry and Dash mentioned the assassin,
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
and Earring mentioned Sun.
Yep.
Sun who glistens on the water.
Yeah, he that character never made it into an Acorn's Journey. There was Marcus was supposed to come with us to do the recording, but some things came up. He wasn't able to do it. So he was relegated to an NPC in an Acorn's Journey, but he had to be in there just to pay homage to the character and Marcus. But we'll get to see Marcus's gameplay pretty soon, which was awesome.
No names.
No names. I
almost
can't.
said it.
I know.
I can see it right there. You're just bite that tongue.
So I hope you like the battle for Birch Grove. It was like a fun little project to do, and we just were like, hell, we'll release it. Maybe people will find it novel, and we hope you don't hate it. We hope you like it, just because it's kind of establishes a little backstory for the characters.
Right.
So, Scott, why don't you give us a little peek of what's coming after an Acorn's Journey?
Little peek.
I was going to say, well, let's throw that curtain open. So this year, beginning in July, we are joining the Eve's Watch.
Ooh, that's a cool name.
Yeah. Fond of it myself. The Eve's Watch is a band of sellswords of dubious reputation. So we're going to follow them on their adventures through Hymerin as they begin to realize that they may be part of something much bigger than themselves or the job that they've been hired to do.
Ooh, dun, dun, dun.
Yes, that's all Lou would let me say. So an Acorn's Journey, a DMD story, was kind of like a fairy tale adventure.
Very much. Yep.
We had all that, the magical wood and, the anthropomorphic animal characters.
True high fantasy.
Yeah, and it was fun.
It
It was a load of fun to run it. It was a load of fun to watch the folks play through it. And it had some really wonderful moments that I'm very, very happy to have been a part of. But it was a fairy tale adventure. So don't expect that from the Jewel of Mazshapur.
Oh, no.
This is darker, grittier, and way more violent.
You're welcome.
So these characters aren't so much heroes as they are anti-heroes, right? They're treading this fine line between hero and villain. At any point in time, they could lean over that line and be one or the other.
Lean my ass. I was jumping.
And this was a load of fun to record. We have some new folks. We have some new voices. We have some old voices. You'll recognize, of course, Bill and Lou, Rhodey Sin. You'll recognize Marcus from the Battle for Birch Grove.
Yep.
Jared joined us.
Yay, Jared.
And
Ben.
And, well, we won't hear from Ben.
Well,
for a
that's true,
little
too.
bit.
Yeah, he's a little further down the line.
And nor will we hear from Chelsea. But Nova's voice you may find familiar.
A touch.
Yeah.
She did our intros, didn't she?
She did. That's the lovely voice that you hear at the beginning of An Acorn's Journey. She's coming back for something a little bigger.
Yep.
Close to the end. But stay tuned. All right. And get ready because Jula Mashapur drops in July of 2023.
Soon.
Very, very soon. And it's something we're quite happy about.
So let's talk how can our listeners support the Dungeon Masters Dojo and our future projects?
Write us big checks.
There's that.
Send us pizza and beer.
You have the order wrong. It's beer and pizza.
Or that.
You could support us on Patreon, by all means. Okay. There's a $5 a month and a $20 a month. You will get a number of things from the $5 a month. You'll get ad-free content, behind-the-scenes content, bonus episodes, early access to episodes, monthly hangouts with the chat, and executive producer credit.
Executive producer credit.
That's a fancy way of saying thank you.
Yep. and that's nice.
And it's $5 a month.
Yeah.
Like I said, the bonus content's nice. The behind the scenes stuff is good. You get uncut stuff. You be able to listen to us rant every now and again. The things that get cut out, some of the stuff may not necessarily be appropriate for younger listeners.
Yeah.
Just be aware. We have an explicit content for a reason.
So ask your parents before you commit. To that sort of thing. You should probably put your money away towards your education. As opposed to us.
Yeah.
You're not going to get much of an education from us.
No.
You'll probably learn a bunch of new words that'll get you in trouble.
Phrases at least.
Yeah.
And with the $20 a month, you get all the aforementioned items, as well as we'll name an NPC after you during our play. And, of course, executive voting powers.
Yeah, so we're any number of things. What sort of campaign do you want to hear next? What sort of extra content would you like? What stuff like that.
There'll be the questionnaires popped up on Patreon, and that's where your executive voting powers come in. So you just watch for those. But these are our two tiers. We really hope you support us. It's one way that we can keep our equipment up to date. Mics. Expansion, we're going to have extra people, which means extra mics, extra boom arms. We're looking at upgrading our recording equipment, and this equipment is not cheap.
There's a library of sound effects.
Yep. Memberships, the domain names, the web pages. So there's a lot of expenses that come along with that, and
so much.
We didn't realize all this, though.
It's a lot.
Fortunately, we're all independently wealthy, and not that we see it. Our wives are the ones that spend it all, but that's okay.
It's expensive to do. It's a lot cheaper to put out a poor quality podcast,
or just maintain the broken down stuff we have, and people can share mics.
Yeah,
and
duct tape,
and we got Velcro around the arms up here.
Yeah, that's holding Lou's bottle of vodka though.
Just
did you have to say that out loud?
The little intravenous drip.
Yeah.
I need another sip.
Flex your arm.
We had to convince Lou that if he wants it direct, the IV was the best way to go because soaking a tampon in vodka.
Oh,
and
come on.
And I was like, Lou, this is getting out of hand. Take that out.
And once again, these are the things you're going to hear on Patreon.
Yeah. It'll probably be edited out.
Okay.
No, it's going to stay there.
All right. Well, if a monthly commitment support is not quite feasible, you can always buy us a sake
Or two.
or
Or three. Say something nice.
or mean.
We don't
We
care.
don't care.
You're buying us a sake.
Well, let me get to the sake page.
Yeah.
Jesus
It-
Christ, I
it
wasn't ready
says
for that one.
Giant yellow. Lou, pull up site on PotoVision. Yes, we have PotoVision.
Yeah. So this is the sort of thing I have to go through frequently. Lou's like, you didn't tell me that. So now I put it in like the notes, and Lou fucking ignores it. I didn't see that.
Highlighted, capital letters.
Yep.
In parentheses.
In bold.
Yep.
Yeah. Bill saw it. Doesn't even have Bill's name attached to it.
Bill's not. Oh my God, you guys leave me alone.
We're gonna get email.
Yeah,
Be
we're
nice
gonna get
to Lou.
email now. Oh, pick it
boy.
up, poor Lou. How dare you want him to do his job?
Well,
The page is up.
so there we have it. What do you get for buying us a sake? 3 drunk old men. That's what you get.
Ta-da!
Yeah, our appreciation. You know, if you can't commit to monthly support, which is totally understandable and totally fine. You can always if you want to support the podcast,
And it's
buy us a
buy us
sake.
It's $5 in increments. So 1 is 5,
Yeah.
3 is 15.
Yeah.
It's just like selling up to the bar alongside of us and just going, oh, I'll buy that drink for you, and then walk off going, man, what a grumpy ass bastard. I'm never going to buy him one again.
Yeah.
And only one of them had hair.
I have a gloriously aesthetic dome.
Until the sun shines in it.
Until it's a solar panel for a sex machine. What are you talking about?
Let's go there. Let's move on. Okay, here the battery's going now.
You could also purchase some D&D logo wear from our store. The
We
link is
do
on
have
the
logo
website.
wear. We have a store.
We have an Acorns Journey t-shirt.
Yep.
That's up there. And, our DMD logo.
All of which can be found on our webpage,
Yes. Which is still up.
thedungeonmastersdojo.com. Check us out.
And we did. Look how beautiful that shirt is. That shirt looks way better on that handsome young guy than it does on me. Which is probably why he's modeling it.
He's
and
modeling it,
I'm not.
and you're
Yeah.
on a podcast.
Yeah. Yes. And not TV.
Yeah, if we end up on TV, it's only because that's where the news showed up to the accident. So
That is a nice looking shirt, though.
It is. There's and the logo was designed by this wonderful young artist,
Blaze.
Blaze Chambers. Lou found him on Fiverr, and we like him.
yeah,
We like his artwork. We like him.
right.
So he did the Jewel of Mashapur, and that T-shirt's going to be coming soon once Jewel of Mashapur starts.
Yeah, you don't want to have a spoiler for a
Right.
T-shirt.
Although I'm going to say that's going to be an epic looking t-shirt.
That's going to be a nice looking T-shirt. Yep. It's he does a nice job.
I'd like to
And-
see
and
it, but every time they show the artwork, they take my glasses. It's all a blur. It's supposed to be a surprise to me. I don't know, those bastards.
Eventually, you'll get to see it. He's actually wearing the T-shirt now. He just doesn't realize it.
Oh, yeah.
He thought that was a stain from dinner.
Yeah. Spaghetti sauce. You never know.
So those are just a few ways you can support the podcast. We're gonna be pushing the Patreon thing and other ways to support over the next year because as Lou said, it's expensive.
Yeah,
We've been finding out.
Yeah,
as
we knew
go
it was
along.
a little pricey when we first got into it, but then there's the membership here and the maintenance there and
Music fees here.
just
It's a lot. It's so much that I called my old employer Thunder Down Under and was like, I need to get back up on stage. I need to get my magic mic on, make a little extra money for the podcast. recorded in front of a live studio audience. Yeah.
Yeah, my dog. The hellhound.
There's a market for dad bods. Maybe not.
I'm thinking more granddad bods, but yeah. Okay. Are we done?
Well, for all time's sakes,
Yes.
any final advice for game masters?
Hey, yeah, you over there sitting on the sofa, you too, listening at work, and you in the car, and all you others. What are you waiting for? Grab your gear. We're going on an adventure.
And this is just the beginning of our adventure together. We'll see you next time in Hymerin. That's going to conclude this episode. Thanks for tuning in and listening. Please subscribe to the podcast for more great content. If you'd like to hear a particular topic, you can reach us on Facebook at the Dungeon Masters Dojo, or you can drop us an email at thedungeonmastersdojo@gmail.com. Thank you, and have a good day.